Graeme, how's Ryan Jack?
Sore. Yeah, he's in the treatment room at the moment. Currently having some ice and compression, and our physios are taking very good care of him at the moment.
Is there any suggestion that there's kind of long-term damage there?
We don't know as yet. It's too soon to say, unfortunately.
Just swelling and whatnot. So.
Yeah, and it is very sensitive. It's very tender. He took a sore one last night, so we'll look at him and make a judgment on him closer to the time.
So you're not ruling him out for Saturday yet?
No. We're having a look at him and saying how he recovers. If there's a potential for him to be involved, then that would be great. If there isn't, obviously we'll be disappointed, but we'll give the player every chance.
Windus wasn't in the squad last night. Is he okay?
He was suspended last night.
Oh, he was suspended last night. Forgive me.
Have you had a chance to look at the tape of the tackle?
Have you?
And Ryan, have you got any views on it?
I think that Ryan slides in to make a pass. The guy goes to block it. I didn't think the guy actually stamped and pushed down. I didn't really put any pressure through the challenge. There was a coming together that is a nasty one, and it's sore. But in regard of intent, I'm not sure there was any there. In
terms of looking ahead to the weekend, I think you said last night that you're hopeful that the boys could be able to stand up to the challenge that Celtic will present, given the way that they stood up to Motherwell yesterday. How different a challenge is it going to be that you're going to face this weekend?
It's a very different challenge. Each team that we play presents us with different challenges. We have to find a way to cope. We know what attributes they have. We know how they like to play. And we respect that, but we have to make sure that we're ready and we're focused to deal with what they're going to throw at us.
How much can you look back on last year's draw that you were involved in and take either inspiration from that, or gain any clues as how to go about repeating it?
Well, we look at everyone that's played against them recently, where they've had success, where they've found problems. It will go back to our game against them previously, but it's a mentality thing. Before anything else, it's a mentality thing to walk to that stadium, to walk out in that stadium and be ready to go and represent the football club. So if we get the mentality right first and foremost, everything can flow from that.
You've spoken about your frustration with the inconsistency that the boys have had, but is the thing that perhaps gives you encouragement is that when it's come to the big games, the likes of the Aberdeen games or the Hibs games, when there has been a big atmosphere, there has been a lot riding in those games, the boys have managed to stand up to the test.
And they've shown a level. They've shown a level of performance. You go to Murrayfield and win. You go to Easter Road and win. You go to Pittodrie and win. The boys have to gain some measure of enthusiasm and encouragement from that. So we do know that we're capable of playing at a level, but we know that against Celtic we're going to be at that level for the whole game.
Is it a fair assessment to say that this is a team that can perform on the big occasion? It's perhaps when there's not as much at stake that's perhaps when they struggle to get themselves going?
Other people might say that. We're looking at how we take those good moments and translate them into great moments in the game, and how we can do that more regularly. And it's a question of making sure our guys know what our game model looks like in different moments of the game. So when we're flowing and when we're crisp on the ball, it looks this way. When things are more difficult, how do we then reboot ourselves to get back to what we want to look like? Regardless of the opposition, that's what we need to be able to do.
What would that result on this fixture mean at this moment in time, especially with the winter break coming up as well? For everyone at the club though, what would that result in the weekend be?
It would be massive for us. It would always be massive to go and actually play against our rivals and get a result, because that's just the nature of the beast, that's the nature of the game. So to go and represent our football club properly and to go and get a result would send everyone into the new year in great spirits, and that's the aim.
Are you able to enjoy this fixture on the sidelines? Are you able to, or is it just so involved, you're so enthralled with the occasion, but are you able to, while you're on the touchline in the build-up, enjoy it to an extent?
It's more a reflective thing when you actually look back on the things you enjoyed from it. But the colour, the pageantry, the noise, these are all things that people outside of the occasion can't understand, won't understand, and won't have any actual level to compare it to. And I didn't until last year. So I'm coming into the game with an understanding of it, but also a desire now to not just experience it, but to be fully involved and actually enjoy the aftermath.
Do you think Rangers have a point to prove after what's going on in this fixture recently?
We've always got a point to prove against Celtic, not just this game. It's just a game. It's the Old Firm derby. It's one of the biggest and best games in the world. So we have to, anytime that game comes around, we have to be ready to be at our top level. So let's not talk about what they're doing or past history or this year or that, whatever. Let's just acknowledge it for one of the biggest games in the calendar, full stop.
Do you think they've dropped off a level after the way they performed last year? They've dropped more points this season than they did at any point last year?
The last thing I want to do is to give Celtic any motivation by telling them they're dropping off a level and really winding them up. What I would like to say is we know that when we perform properly, we can give everyone a game. So, as I've said, regardless of the level that Celtic perform at, regardless of what they try and achieve, we have to make sure that we concentrate on delivering our best performance of the season.
How's Lee Wallace? Is he any closer to making his return?
Not yet, unfortunately.
Any other team news over the weekend?
Jack Hannock is progressing really well. Graeme Dorrans is out of his cast and he's moving on to mobilisation exercises, but he's still going to be a while as yet. And we will make a further assessment of the full squad tomorrow when we get ready.
If you had you want to put a timescale yet in Kenny Miller's return, does that mean you said it was a significant period?
Not yet, because if you know one thing about Kenny, you'll give him a time scale that he'll be out for and he'll do his damnedest to go and beat it. And not just beat it, but beat it by a record score. So that's just the nature of the guy. We'll just make sure that we take care of him, and when he's ready to go, we'll get him physically prepped as well as we can.
I know it's been a busy week, but are you any further forward with plans for recruitment in January at the moment?
We are moving forward. We're identifying people, and work is ongoing behind the scenes. Obviously, I don't believe it's right to talk about people that play for other football clubs. I think it's disrespectful. So we'll just go about our business quietly and hopefully get that done and get these guys sitting up here in front of you if we're successful.
If Ryan's injury does prove to be a lengthy one, might that change your plans or alter what you look to do?
Plans are always subject to change. Plans will be subject to change due to injury, due to other people looking at our footballers, and we have to be flexible and capable to react to those, because no one's really surprised by anything happening in football, really.
Would you hope that you'll get some new additions to go to Florida with you? Is that, from your point of view, as a timescale and working with them out there, would you like to have them in before you go?
Ideally, you like to work with the squad that you're going to be working with towards the latter half of the season, but we all know what it's like in the transfer window. Things can happen really quickly or things can take a long time, so we just have to accept what happens and then be ready to, as I've said, react and accommodate what we can actually get done. So if we can, great. If we can't, we have to make sure we integrate them as soon as possible when we get back.
In terms of the market that you are, without going into specifics about who you're looking at, how difficult is it for Rangers to operate in a January window when the amount of money that's been thrown around in England in particular is astronomical compared to what I guess you've got on offer?
We have to understand where we are in that scheme. We're not going to go out and spend £75 million on a centre half. We just know that's not possible. But we know our parameters, we know our remit, and we'll be making sure that we get the best player that we can to fit our characteristic and our needs, because we have different needs to any other team in this league. We have to make sure that we're true to ourselves and we get what we need, and although market forces will push, we have to make sure that we do good business.
The long-term strategy of this club, is it fair to say that, you mentioned the Van Dijk transfer, which is obviously going through, that's the kind of thing ultimately that you would like Rangers to benefit from long term? If you were able to get a player like a young player, a guy who's not known to the top leagues in the world, and develop him, and then you get a sell-on fee in due course, that's ultimately how Rangers have got to operate now going forward.
I think it makes good business sense for anyone in the world to buy cheap and sell high, and actually insert a sell-on clause as well if you can. So we would not be averse to doing that at all, because it's a revenue stream that's tappable, and it's a revenue stream that could push us closer to the guys who are in front of us at the moment. So if we can do that, that would be an ideal world. But we have to make sure in this January window we get people who can impact us now and help us push on in this season. So let's concentrate on this season, and any other strategic stuff will be taken care of.
Can I just ask you one other thing? I don't know whether you've seen the highlights from last night. The goal that wasn't at Tynecastle. Obviously there's no goal line technology in Scottish football at the moment, and do you think it's something that the league and the SFA should accelerate that process when you have a situation like that last night?
I think everyone's seen it work down south. It's clear, it's really, really clean. It takes away all human error, and I think it would be a good thing. As to the market forces that would push that, whether it's producible at this level, with the money that we have, that's for someone else to actually look at. But as a concept, I think it's already been shown to work really well.
There was some comments in the papers yesterday that Carlos Pena perhaps saying he was open to a return to Mexico if things weren't working out here. Is that something that he's discussed with you that's perhaps been looked at?
Not yet, but all players when it comes to January will be looking at their options. Whether you've got a 4-year deal, whether you're in the last 6 months, every player when the transfer window opens will be looking at making sure they secure themselves and their future for their family. I understand that, that's the nature of the beast. So if you were to come to me to say that X player has been notified that this is going to happen, it wouldn't really surprise me. As I've said, we just have to be honest and open with the player and be flexible enough to react properly.
In an ideal world, how many do you see coming in and perhaps going out? Are you able to quantify those?
I won't be able to quantify that one at this time.